I saw a rocket heading out. It made the neighborhood fall quiet. The rooster tail that drifted down disappeared before the crowd.
That's Greg Johnson from his new album, Thunder in Fall. We talked to Greg about space travel, depressing films, orange cones, and covering R.E.M. Here now is Greg in his home studio in L.A. Let's have a look around.
Yeah, my studio, which is in this really cool old bomb factory. It's sort of arts district in Santa Monica. It's what's left of the arts district. I think all of it's slated to be pulled down and made into apartments at some point, but we keep thinking, oh, we've got another year. And so anyway.
Yeah.
See what
Hang
happens.
in there. And the weather's been awful over there, hasn't it?
It has been really uncharacteristic, honestly, mate. It was like I said to someone the other day, I might as well move back to Auckland if I want this much rain.
Well, actually, to be honest, the summer's been amazing here this year. Last year,
I'm hoping it holds.
we didn't have any summer last year,
next
so we're appreciating it all this year.
Yeah, that's great. All it's got to do is last to all of March. It'd be perfect.
Yep, I think you'll be okay. Feels good. Yeah. So when do you head off?
Next weekend, I think I arrive on 1st of March, 2nd of March, something like that.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, actually, oftentimes March traditionally has been the best month in New Zealand, and a lot it just sort of settles down. But we'll see. Anyway, we'll be inside mostly playing shows.
Yes. And so what's the configuration? Is it you solo? Are you playing with somebody? What's happening with the tour?
Ben King's on everything, and Wayne Bell and Mark Hughes are on some of them.
Okay.
The bigger ones around Auckland, I think. The South Island stuff, I think, is all Ben and I, which is it's a different show, really, but it's in some ways, for me these days, almost more enjoyable because it's more, it's looser. It's not so sort of, with a band, it's like, now let's play this track, whereas solo, or duo rather, it's it tends to follow my...
Yeah, because I see you're doing a thing at Uxbridge, here in Auckland on the 17th, and then at the Q Theater on the 30th. So different kind of shows for both of those?
Yeah, that's right. There will be. The Q Theater will be the full band, but it's the last show, so I'll probably do a combo of the duo and the full band for that. I'm actually excited to play in that theater. It looks like they've really done a number on it since
I've been there.
I mean, I was in there 30 years ago. I was in that building. It's like, well, it's changed.
Yep. Yeah, no, it is a good place to play. Absolutely. And so the album just came out like yesterday, right? Or today, or where? I was losing track of what day it is. So
I can't either. And I'm working with some folks in the UK as well that are helping with some of the stuff. And between here and the UK and New Zealand, it's like, hang on, what time we tried to get everyone together the other day. It's like, this is madness. It'll be midnight there, or it's just.
Anyway. Then just when you get it sorted out, they change daylight savings time somewhere.
Yeah, that'll throw. Exactly.
It's like, no, thank you very much. All right, so the title of the album is Thunder in Fall, and I'm assuming that the fall in question is the season. You've gone American on us.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, the Thunder and Fall is a little sort of saying. It's a weather saying that just means you're in for a very cold winter. That's the traditional meaning of it. So, I'm sort of obsessed with the weather, I suppose, like most New Zealanders, or perhaps my generation of New Zealanders.
Well, that's the thing. When I moved to New Zealand, I realized everybody was indeed obsessed with the weather, and are always looking at the predictions and the forecasts, and it's never right. So it's like, what?
It's never right. That's one of the things that amazed me about the US when I moved here. Is like, they can predict it's going to have a light shower next Wednesday afternoon at 2:00, and they'll be right. It's like, how did they figure that out?
Right.
So I couldn't tell you it's a thunderstorm going to arrive in Auckland on the sunny day an hour later.
Well, I think there's just too much stuff going on here. You got seas, oceans, winds, mountains.
It's a long canoe in a big cold ocean, really, isn't it?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And what about Groundhog Day? I see the groundhog did not see his shadow, so there's early spring.
I've sort of vaguely followed that tradition. It's kind of like one of those ones. It's like,
Well, I'm from Pennsylvania, so it's near where they do.
It's all about that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually a good one. I like that one. I think it's sort of it's probably as good as any bellwether I can think of. Really.
Yep. So back to the album cover. So why have you titled the album that?
I think it's actually it's slightly dark. I mean, in some ways, that record. I sort of halfway through it, I thought, geez, I better add a bit of optimism in here as well. I think it's been quite a dark period of human history, and I don't see it getting any particularly much better in the next year or so. So, I mean, that was the prediction there, I guess. I like that it's a sort of a warning signal that there's cold things to come, and as I think, like probably you're probably the same. I think our generation, we were lucky that we sort of grew up in a nice little spot where we didn't have to go off and fight well, and didn't have to get involved in any wars. Everything seemed to be getting better and better, and technology's here to save us, and it's going to be great. And it's turned really, unfortunately, predictably. I mean, we were the fools because we thought people will change.
No, same old stuff. Yeah.
So I guess that's slightly negative, but there are nice, I think, optimistic elements to the record also. So
Right. Yeah. I was talking. Who is it? Graham Nash the other day from Crosby, Stills and Nash. He wrote all these, Chicago and all these songs, protest songs from the '60s and early '70s, and he's like, it's the same now. It's just different.
Yeah, totally. The kids don't really care because they're too busy doing something. I don't know what.
Anyway.
Or maybe they do, and we just don't know it because we're not in the same communication channels as they are.
Yep. So this, from what I've read, the sound of the album is kind of based on this piano that you have acquired somehow.
This very piano here behind me, this lovely old upright piano that I managed to just score. It was brilliant. On equivalent to trade, and you just got it $200.
Not bad.
A couple of guys with it, and it just I'd been missing that from my studios. I guess my other studio was a lot smaller. There was really no room for a real piano, and since I moved to this one, I thought I've got to have a piano. And it's just I've forgotten how much of a centerpiece that is to all my music. Right. Really, the way that the harmonics between, especially uprights, because they're not perfect. That's the beauty of them. How that can trigger melody and just generally happiness, So it was built around that, and then I thought I'm going to give that piano plenty of space. Got myself one of these. Hang on, where is it? This thing here. Just unplug it. This little guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I thought I'm not having any more fake synths. I'm going to have a real synth. Which I thought, which is kind of like I'm going to have some real margarine, So those two elements, voices and a bit of percussion and 808, because I thought I've always had my first bands we were trying to incorporate drum machines, and it was often a disaster back then because we were trying to do it live.
Right. Yeah.
And, but I've always liked the kind of simplicity of the drum machine and the fact that it doesn't take up necessarily a particular part of a room. So that was fun. And, Ben King and Ted Brown sung their hearts out. And, it's left a bit of space, I think, which is what I was looking for.
So the songs,
and a movie.
The songs that are on the album that you've written, were they written with that piano in mind, with that sound, or what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, they're written on that piano.
Yeah,
basically all of them. So I'm just looking at that, thinking, yeah, they were all written on that piano. Yeah. All right. So they were actually pretty much the whole record was really written and done over about I'd say a year, up until it finished in August. I actually finished recordings in August. So
and it opens with a tune called "The Next Trip Around the Sun." I like the line about wanting Pluto to be reinstated as a.
I know, right? That was just great taking that on the planet off.
Trip around.
Anything else you want to say about the song?
Venus comes arising, but Mars is tantalizing. Jupiter too big for her own good. know it's well debated. Give the kid a chance. Give the kid a chance.
It's just, I think it's a measure of time as well. You know, I mean, there's this record does have elements of that too. I think the whole idea of space and time is really working on my mind a lot at the moment. And this whole idea of moving to Mars, I guess I started on that idea with like my Nothing Grows on Mars sort of single I had a while back. But it's, you know, it's still, realize more and more as I get older how really vast time is and how what a blip everything we know is. It's a fantastic movie actually called R.E.M. It's a Swedish movie about the spaceship that's on its way to Mars and gets blown off course with a whole lot of people on it. It's just I highly recommend it. It's one of the darkest, most depressing movies I've ever seen.
Highly recommend it. I love it.
Highly recommend it. But you know, they're on the spaceship. It's 20 years. Everything's done. They're all basically done after 20 years of floating out in deep space. And it keeps cutting 10 years, 20 years, and then it cuts from 20 to 5.5 million years later. And there's the ship still going along inside the ship, and it's coming finally to another planet. And it's like, oh, yeah. that hit home. It really did, you know. So there's elements of all that stuff in there. There's a definite space theme. You know, who knows why? It's just what I happen to be sort of musing on at the moment.
So if Elon Musk started shuttling people back and forth and you could afford it, would you go up?
You know, I don't think so. I just don't think I want to be in. I mean, it's bad enough the flight to New Zealand, 12 hours. You know, 12 hours crammed in with other people. I don't know about even 3 weeks sounds like a nightmare. I mean, just to get there and go, yep, pretty desolate. Yep, not much here. Yeah. Great. Can we get back to let's go back to the rainforest.
I think I just saw a headline on CNN where the States is thinking about trying to do another moonshot. So
try something different, you know.
Exactly. Now, speaking of something different, you got a guitar player named Steve Katz on the record who plays on Grasslands. Yeah. He's not the Steve Katz from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He's a different guy, right?
No, he's not. Steve Katz is a gentleman I met through an album project I was doing that he was working on. He's a guitar player from St. Croix in the Caribbean. Right. I think he's originally from New Jersey, but he sounds a lot better. Right. He's just a wonderful and incredible, talented guy. And we were working on this other album. I said, look up. He said, hey, is there anything you want me to play on while I'm here? I'm like, hey, do you mind throwing a few licks on this track Grasslands? And so he just like, he's one of those guys who just goes, and you go, wow, can you play less? And then he does. It's like, yeah, he's just a wonderful guy and a great guitar.
Pigeons fly across the thought. Will they even know they're caught? We might feel weather, might hear rain. The hours will stretch across the plain up. Grasslands forever.
So that was, you know, just the luck of having your own studio and other people working there. You managed
So he was recording at your studio?
Yeah, he was doing a recording with another guy called Dr. Rich, who's another American guy based now in Australia, who I was working on a record with him. Yeah.
And speaking of guests, you got Julia Fordham on there. She's on Smile or
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yes, I have. It was very cool. She's a friend of friends here in LA, and I'd met Julia before. In fact, she'd been in the studio once before, my old studio. I can't remember what for, but I just had the song Smile or Frown. I thought, this could be better, could be more. And so I said to Julia, you want to come and sing on it? And then she came in and she was like, oh, we've got to rewrite this. You've got to do it. You've got to add. And it was like, yeah, you're right. This bit could be. And so we ended up rewriting it.
It sounds very English folk now. And I was wondering if that's because of her involvement in it, or was that your intention?
We're only half full, but there's love in this crowd. Pull up the tables and gather around. as once stood, it's apartments now. People will pay for them somehow. We will both pay for this somehow. But nobody knows in this town. Is it a smile or frown?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always had in mind a very kind of that very much that sort of vaguely sort of Irishy kind of vibe to it, traditional sort of structure. And yeah, Julia definitely added to that, no doubt. And it was just great to have her around. She's hilarious and
Oh,
great.
cool.
It was a challenge to record her voice. It was like all my other mics that worked so well on other people were just not working. It's like, shit, what are we going to do? I said, I've got this Manly, that I don't use that often, but it's the most expensive microphone. And she says, let's try that one.
Well, why not?
And it was perfect. So, yeah, that was fun. She's been around in LA for a while, but she's got a good fan base in the Philippines. She's huge in the Philippines of all places, and of course England and Ireland. So yeah, it's cool. It was cool to have her around.
And you've covered R.E.M. on this record, Drive.
What if I ride? What if you walk? What if you rock around the clock on tick tock, tick tock? What if you did? What if you walked? What if you tried to get off?
I'd never done a cover on a record before, and I thought, I'm going to try. I just love that. I've always loved that song, honestly. And I thought, I wonder if there's anything I can bring to this, because I'm probably not that much different to or Stipe in the sense that I'm an old white guy.
I know the feeling.
But the least popular form of humanity right now, but
we had our day.
we really did. So anyway, I just thought, yeah, you know what? I've always loved that song, and I figured I tried it on the piano. I thought, yeah, this does have a little something to it that's a bit different, and I messed the melody a tiny bit just to make it my own. But I love the ambiguity of that song. I mean, really, what is it about? I don't know, but it does something to me.
Yep.
So, and it was fun to do. So that was. There it is.
When you hear just the intro and you kind of realize, wait a minute, I know this song, and it just takes you immediately to wherever you were when you first heard it and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's great. I'm great. It's great to hear that, because actually a couple of people that didn't know R.E.M. that well, I played the record to. They were like, I feel like I know. If you played me that song before, and I'm like, no, that's R.E.M. Like, oh, right. But,
I see the four guys just got together for some reason last week or for the first time. Pictures and all that stuff, so it's kind of nice to see them all still
so
standing.
much admiration for Mike Stipe for doing what he did, just going, you know what, we're the biggest band in the world. I'm sick of it. I want to go and be a lecturer now at New York University. Off he goes. I thought it's just great.
Well, I think when Bill Berry left, the drummer, that was kind of the end of and he co-wrote Drive, I believe. So,
yes, he did.
And once he was gone, it was kind of not the same.
Yeah. Well, I think Peter Buck was having some issues as well at that point, I think, as well. But yeah, so even their last singles, Leaving New York, I thought was great. There's some great. They were just great, really, weren't they?
Yeah. So this is so when you come here and when you come back to New Zealand, do you have like what do you get up to? Who do you contact? What is it like for you to go back and forth and come back home and all that stuff?
Well, my 86-year-old dad will pick us up in his old Beamer.
Oh, there you go. That's what you want.
We can get the keyboard across the back seat. It's so wide. Right. And so I'll hang with him, watch a bit of cricket.
Yep.
And my sister's in Mount Eden, so I'll go and hang with them as well, and brother-in-law. And then, just old friends. Auckland's changed so much, I don't really even know where to go anymore.
It's covered in orange cones these days. It's just like
my daughter and I had a running gag. We were there a year ago and it was like, the place has been taken over by orange cones. They're multiplying.
Yep.
I wish I had a share in the orange cone business, honestly. I think New Zealand, you'd be rich.
Yep. Somebody's making a buck off of it, but it's not me.
I mean, do you have to have every 3 feet. You have them every 10 meters. Surely we'll do the same thing, but no.
Yeah, no. And they're
Anyway,
stacked up, and it seems like they're just there for the taking. And so,
I think they're an environmental and visual hazard.
I
Honestly,
wouldn't be surprised.
they really are.
Yeah,
What's happened to these? Are they biodegradable? I want to
I
know
doubt
that
it. They're
too.
very plastic.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's a business. Hey, come on, mate. Let's start this one. Recycled biodegradable orange cones.
Yep. Well, sounds like you're ready to come and play.
Yeah, I'm really amped for it, honestly, mate. I've really been playing that piano a lot and just loving music, in a way that every year more, I think. So I'm very much amped to do it. And I've got this, which took me 58 years to get together. But look, it's my little book of. Finally, I put all my songs, well, not
Oh,
all of them. 80. I've got 87 of them so far. The ones I actually might
right.
play, all in this book with the lettering so small I can't actually read
Right.
it. So I've got to still remember. But the chord's just big enough I forget. And so, probably the tour after this one, I'm thinking about doing a throw the dart
Oh,
at the
yeah.
chord
Well,
type
who was
one.
it? T-Bone. Somebody I saw. It was Elvis Costello and somebody. They had like a spinning, wheel,
Yeah, my English mate was
like a
telling me
Wheel of
about that
Fortune kind of
exactly.
thing, and
Yeah,
it'd spin the thing and see what song was going to be next. That was
yeah,
very
yeah.
cool.
I think that'd be kind of cool. Or just do a request at the start of the show, or pass a hat round, or I don't know, something.
Yeah,
But I think I've got enough in that catalog now. I could do that
definitely.
quite successfully.
Yep.
As a sort of so as I always play my top 10, I
Sure.
suppose, that people want, that they know the most, and then the other 10 for the concert are, you know, you
Yep.
know, Hobson's Choice. No, not Hobson's Choice. That would be something. No, it's not Hobson's Choice.
All right. Like that.
Someone else's choice. My choice.
Yes, of course. Excellent. All right. Well, can't wait to see you here. It's just a couple of weeks away.
Catch up
We'll
with you
see you.
soon,
Yeah.
mate.
Good luck with everything. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, buddy. Bye.